good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another week with Fathers Who Care. Listen, I need not tell you that I'm excited about life. I'm just glad to be in the land of the living, be seen and not viewed. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to tell you right now, you have a lot to be thankful for. One thing, you're here to look at this show tonight. Secondly, you're going to have some resources tonight that's going to help you to navigate through some of the changes that you might be going into life. And another important thing that's going to happen tonight, we're going to give you some answers to some of your issues. Yes, I said it. We're going to address some of the issues that you have been inquiring about, or what can we do to promote a safe and a drug-free community while engaging others in our community. Well, I felt compelled that I had to call on some spiritual intervention, if you may. I had to call on my pastor, all right? I had to call on him. I said, Doc, we need you on the show. We need to talk about what's going on in the neighborhood. I mean, we're talking about police misconduct. We're talking about the senseless violence. We're talking about poverty. We're talking about the state. We're talking about all kind of things, and folks are losing hope, Doc. Their hope is just diminishing. Their spirit for service is diminishing. And I don't want folks to lose hope. I want folks to know as long as you have life and you can continue to hope and you can continue to pray, because there is a better way. But anyway, you're watching Fathers Who Care, and our theme here is teamwork can make the dream work, but it takes us working together. And we really want to kind of dispel some of those negative myths associated with African American men. So what I try to do is I intentionally bring on men of substance, men of power, men who've been vetted, and most importantly, in my heart of hearts, I believe men of integrity, who can stand the course, who have endured the test, and who's willing to continue to, in spite of. All right. In spite of what may come, I just believe that Dr. Hatch, my pastor, is truly sent from God and is doing the work to empower the people. And not only that, I just believe he loved people. All right. He loved God, he loved people, and he loved the community. So with that being said, it's so much that we want to talk about. So I'm going to kind of go through to some of the, just forget about some of these preliminaries, because I got a lot of things I want to talk to Dr. Hatch about. So tonight we'll be referring to him as Dr. Hatch or Pastor Hatch, whichever is convenient to you. But that's who we'll be referring to, Dr. Hatch or Pastor Hatch tonight. We believe at Fathers Who Care that any man that's physically capable can make a baby, but it takes a real man to be a father. So in doing so, Doc, we want to engage you tonight in how to promote. Folks are constantly talking that the community is just going to hell, basically. What can we do to save our children, to save our communities? Basically, what can we do to engage more people in promoting a safe and drug-free community? That's the topic tonight. What can we do to promote a safe and drug-free community while engaging others? So with that being said, let me introduce you to our guest tonight. Our guest tonight is, of course, my pastor and chairman, Dr. Marshall Elijah Hatch. I personally believe, and I'm sure those who know him, that he is truly a man on a mission. He's really committed to empowering the least of them. I mean, he could do what he wanted to do. He could be out there in Washington. He can be sitting back at the church, because we do have a nice church in the community. God has blessed us with a nice edifice over there in West Garfield Park. So we can build the village and the neighborhood, and that would be enough. Mm. But God has called you to be a beacon of life across the country. A beacon of light across the country. So when God called you to do the work, you have to do it. Dr. Hatch is a father. He's a husband. Of course, he's the senior pastor of New Mount Pilgrim, and he's chairman, co-chair. Now, which one are you? Chairman or co-chair?
Chairman of the Leaders Network.
That's what I thought.
Board.
Chairman of the Leaders Network board. He's an author. He's a professional, and of course, he's a visionary. And I believe that he's a man's man. What that means is he's accessible. All right? Like we're doing now, I mean, we're going to probably sit up in here and be talking about the years when his daddy used to be our pastor. And when we all came out of Shiloh, did that bring you back?
Back in the day.
That bring you back. So, but with that being said, Doc, we would like to just get you to relax a tad here. And we really want to go into talking about the plight of folks in our community. I mean, we're talking real stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're in some troubling times now, and I'm trying not to get too political up in here, but we're in some real trying times now. We got folks running for president who's actually saying things on television about, literally about assassinating folks and getting Russia to check folks. I mean, we're going through some real trying times. I see folks wanting to ostracize one of the little sisters on from the Olympics because she wasn't in unison with others with their hand on the chest. But then you got this man sitting around all these elected officials, all these other elected officials and candidates, and he'll do a thing, right? Yeah. But I'm saying we're living in some trying times. So with that, be mindful that as you educate us tonight, and be passionate with us and patient with us, and tell us what can we do. First of all, what can we do as a community to rally behind a common cause in our community? So, Dr. Hatch, this is my introduction to you. If you have anything you want to share prior to that, please do.
But I think you put your finger right on the pulse, Reverend Jones, when you mention the word community. Mm-hmm. I mean, the first thing I think all of us can do is to make sure we're connected to other people. So that's a church, that's an organization, that's a fraternity, that's a sorority, that's a civil rights group. I think part of what we're dealing with, of course, is because of the mindset. Some of it, kind of comes out of social networking where everybody's got their own platform. Mm-hmm. And we've lost sight that strength really comes from community or being connected to each other. And so the way that you actually have movements or movements of people is really where organizations come together. 50 years ago this summer, Dr. King lived in Chicago.
Right.
And I had a joy the other day explaining to somebody who Al Raby was. There's a school on the west side named after Al Raby.
And flowers over place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Al Raby was actually a very kind of humble and soft-spoken guy. That's why most people don't know him. Mm-hmm. But it was he had the ability to bring group leaders together, and it probably had a lot to do with his humility. Mm-hmm. And they had something then called CCC. I mean, we were little kids, but I read this stuff,
Right.
So he actually had the ability to build a table where organization groups came together. And those that knew how the civil rights movement functioned, Dr. King didn't just come to Chicago. He was invited to Chicago.
Absolutely.
And he was invited to Chicago by round tables of leaders, which means that really you get movement when all of us are connected with some group. And so the first thing we can do is make sure we're not out there running solo by ourselves, and make sure we're a part of something.
Well, I want to stay with that for 1 minute, if you don't mind. And thanks for the education. But I think you referenced connected to each other, being connected to each other, regardless to what fraternal organization or organizations you might be involved in. But connect on common issues and common concerns.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
Let me just say one of the reasons. I mean, I enjoy kind of dealing with the university types. A lot of the Black Youth Project and the Black Lives Matter, and some of them I think do a good job of critiquing church.
Right.
But then they've got to always understand that church is not a building; it's really people. And so really,
they don't get that.
We can't say we're against church, because basically it's the folks' religion and their organization together. Church is a organized group of people at the end of the day.
But they say that now until they need it.
Yeah. And it can be very effective. I mean, a lot of
until they need you.
But it's an ongoing. It's like people say, let's have a community meeting. Well, church have a community meeting every week.
Don't we though? A few meetings.
Every week.
Doc, we got a caller.
And a big one.
And a big one. Yeah. Can we get this caller? Caller, you on there? Your comment or question, please. Hello? Can we get the caller? Okay, so we're waiting on the caller. Let's go to the next one. And so, Doc, here you go. You said so.
I have a question for.
Hello?
I have a question for Pastor Hatch. What are some things you do in your community to empower youth?
You say, what are some things you're doing in your community to empower youth?
That's an excellent question. It sounds like a young voice.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you for that. We have, even now, a youth ministry. Some of the folks involved in that are here today that also are part of Fathers Who Care.
Our babies.
And absolutely. So, I mean, there's a youth ministry. There is a open gym with the basketball on Friday night, and they do a kind of class with those guys before that game. The youth are now getting ready to go on a retreat, and they plan all of this. One of the things that the youth are doing now, they've gotten involved in religious art in our church, and they're looking at
the glass.
Yeah, they're looking at a major window in the congregation that's really the youth driving it,
right.
And they're deciding what folks will be in the window. For example, they're really fighting now. They want Laquan McDonald's picture in a stained glass, and they're doing a super job. But all of this is youth led. And of
youth
course,
are speaking, Doc.
the youth. You don't have a church without youth.
The youth are speaking,
and you don't have a future without development of youth.
And
leaders.
you don't have a movement.
Absolutely. So I mean, they're doing all kind of things.
So there is things for young folks to do in the village.
Absolutely, including this Sunday is Scholarship Sunday. They'll be giving away thousands of dollars to kids who are in the congregation going away to college.
Wait a minute. So I hear you say that they're playing basketball on Fridays. They have activities that they're doing in the church.
Obviously, Bible classes.
Absolutely, that's a given.
Children's church.
Children's church. But then you also say that they're getting ready to do a retreat.
Getting ready to do a retreat, going away to Wisconsin.
They're getting ready to create a stained glass
mural. A major stained glass mural. Yeah.
So how would if folks wanted to get their young folks actively involved and other young folks in the village, what would they have to do? Who can they call?
Well, the church's youth pastor is Robert Irvin, who is there every day now. He runs the building and grounds professionally.
Okay.
But he is the youth pastor.
Okay.
And the number is 773-287-5051. Plus, we got this huge block party coming on Saturday.
Really? Okay, tell us about it.
At Saturday, the 13th of August, at Washington and Kildare, 4301 West Washington. Several parts of the block going north and west and east and west, north and south. We'll have school physicals, vision, dental, the jumping jacks, the open gym. We fed over 1,500 meals in this last year, so all free food, school supplies, book bags, you name it.
Basketball,
music,
so
Bibles, prayer.
So it's a fun day.
It's a fun day. It's a block party.
It's a block party.
A gospel block party.
In the village.
In the village. Everything free. 20 vendors, and so all of the major schools in the area that are recruiting students at the local schools. They each have tables there. It's an incredible experience.
So this is an opportunity for family to come out, young folks to come
everybody
out,
in the family,
and everybody would be empowered.
Absolutely.
And it's this Saturday, you say, August the 13th.
This Saturday, August 13th.
From what time?
From 10 until 4 p.m.
Okay, you heard it here. So if you're looking for something to do with the family that is free, all right, you can come out this Saturday, August the 13th, from 10 o'clock to 4 p.m. to the village, to the Pilgrim Village block party.
That's right.
That means we're gonna close it down.
We're gonna shut it down and turn it up.
And turn it up. For Christ.
Turn up.
We're gonna do it right.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it right.
We're gonna do it right.
We're gonna do this right. I mean, you won't have a hangover in the morning. Trust me.
Yeah.
You're gonna be at peace.
You'll be ready for church.
Yeah, you'll be good. Look, come on out because it's really gonna be a real nice time. We actually do it every year.
Every year.
So this is nothing new.
No.
We just become better at it. But it's a time for everybody in the community to come in the community.
Our head deacons is Charles Gross. I mean, really, it's free to the people that come, but it ain't free. We put a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
But he said, Pastor Deacon Gross said, rather than going out somewhere with a picnic, he said, let's bring the picnic to the people, because a lot of these children don't get out of the neighborhood all summer. And that's how the vision
which is a good thing.
Expanded. Yeah,
Doc, we got another caller. Caller, you on there. Your comment or question for you. We have Dr. Hatch with us tonight, and we're talking about what can we do to promote a safe and drug-free community while engaging you. Your question, please.
Hello?
Yes. Okay, Doc, it seems like this phone is having a moment. So talk to us about what is civic engagement and why is it important for folks, particularly young people and old alike, to be involved?
Yeah, you only get what you need by being engaged in the civic life of the community. So communities really have to be organized. That's why communities are so important. That's why community groups are so important. That's why churches and block clubs and community organizations are so important. Because in order to get what you need from government, you really have to be organized, and then of course have different kinds of advocates, if be they elected or not even unelected officials, but folks who advocate for the resources for our community.
Okay.
So if you're just sitting on the sidelines, if you're not a registered voter, the system really is not going to respond to you.
Absolutely.
And then if you're not organized as a community, the system is not going to respond. So civic engagement means everybody involved in some kind of organization in their own community.
So that goes back to what you're saying about the community being connected to
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
And being connected behind a cause.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Well, I
the
want to
peace of the community.
The piece of, okay, I have to, you open
And
it.
the well-being of the community and the development of the community.
You opened the door, so I'm going to take this liberty. There's a lot going on. We've been watching on the news, and folks are just totally traumatized, literally, with what's
Yeah.
going on in the neighborhood. Most of us, who do what we do in the community, we try to bring some resolve. We try to bring some peace in trying times. And we're praying and we're lifting up the spirit in order to bring some healing.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, there's some concerns going on. All right, there's some issues.
Yeah.
There's alive and well in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, do you believe is the plight of African Americans or lives in the lives of our folks in
Chicago?
Yeah.
Chicago's black community.
I want to go there.
Is in a state of upheaval, and a lot of it is intentional. I mean, one of the biggest things, really, news stories, and I've talked to people off the record who are in these large news organizations. They're absolutely interested in this whole movement of black people out of Chicago. Because
Wait a minute,
that is
did you
really
say black folks?
black folk moving out of Chicago.
Exodus, huh?
An exodus out of Chicago. And that's the flip side of the unfortunate part of the hype on the violence, is that it has all of the black folks saying, I'm getting out of Chicago. I'm getting out of Chicago.
Right.
When the fact of the matter is, we're moving out of Chicago, and then right down the street from where we are on the near west side, the international headquarters of McDonald's, one of the largest corporations in the world, is moving into Chicago.
Go figure.
Now, something is wrong with that picture.
Go figure.
We think it's worth moving out, and people with money think it's worth moving in.
So what are you
and
saying?
So we got to be careful that we're getting played.
Okay.
I mean, I really feel bad about
Okay.
what we're allowing to happen to us now, and that is we're abandoning our own communities and our neighborhoods that really we've invested in, and then once we move out, sadly enough, a lot of people won't be able to move back in.
Okay, Doc, we got another caller. Caller, thank you for calling. Your comment or question, please.
My question is, what is something encouraging you can say to youth that feels like nothing will ever go right? And this is for either one of you.
What can we say encouraging for young folks who are feeling hopeless?
Mm-hmm.
How can we inspire young folks to not give up hope?
Well, that's where you often have to have your own personal faith. I mean, I grew up in public housing just a few blocks from here as a kid. My mom died when I was 8 years old. And so I know that all of us have to dig down inside of us and have that personal drive. And that comes from your own sense of calling in the world. And that's why, those of us who have faith communities, those of us who put our faith in Jesus Christ, I mean, that is, it begins with a personal faith that sends us on a personal mission.
Okay.
And when you're on a mission, it's not the same thing as having a job.
Right.
Or it's not the same thing as being for self.
Right.
You're working on something larger. And that actually is the only way you can really build community, is when you're working on a community that is larger than ourselves. And that's why I don't believe in running from Chicago.
Okay.
I believe in staying and building up where I am.
Okay, Doc, we got a caller, but now when we come back, I want to talk to you about what the Leaders Network at the meeting this week.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, what the Leaders Network did as far as having a public viewing
Paul O'Neill tape.
of the Paul O'Neill tape.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell us briefly about that, but I want you to talk specifically about what is police misconduct
Yes.
in relationship.
Yes.
Let's go. Caller, you on the air. Thank you so much for calling. Your comment or question? Hello?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about how the 90% of heroin is in Afghanistan, and we got troops over there guarding it. And how can we stop our government bringing in 90% of heroin in our inner cities, destroying our inner cities? You know they're making money off the drug trade.
Okay, well, did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, thank you so much for your call. And just the preference, what we're doing tonight, I like that, what you're talking about, and thank you again. And we're talking specifically tonight about how to promote a safe and drug-free community, specifically in the city of Chicago. But Doc, he was talking about Afghanistan, and he was talking about the drug trade of Afghanistan, which, you know, if folks do a little work, they'll know that a lot of that stuff was originated by hand.
Absolutely.
Who was building up armies, all right, and guns.
Yeah.
But if you would like to,
Well,
being a scholar in your own right.
The caller is making a great point about how intentional a lot of this is.
Okay.
You know, the fact is we don't grow heroin. Where's the heroin coming from? So I think the caller's talking about how, you know, people in high places are in effect facilitating a lot of this destabilization that goes with drugs, and particularly when drugs become criminalized by
But
the
do you
law.
think it's by design?
Oh, you know, I think it is by design.
Because this guy, what's this guy named? El Capo? Remember El Capo?
I don't.
El Capo is the largest drug dealer in the country,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
he's escaped out of the Mexican jail twice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And they caught him. All right, and brought him back.
Yeah.
But yet this guy is still allowed to. How could you escape?
Yeah.
You know. But the point of the matter is the guy bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars. So there's a demand on drugs.
Right.
But anyway, Doug, let's get to this question. What is police misconduct? And tell me what's going on with that investigation in relationship to the young man,
you know,
the young fellow O'Neal.
You know, it's one thing to talk about criminals engaged in criminal activity, and they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and in some cases restorative justice is probably in the interest of the community. But it's another thing when people who are sworn to uphold the law become lawbreakers. It just upsets everything about law and order when people who are supposed to enforce the law become lawbreakers. And so police misconduct is particularly egregious. I mean, there are folks that always talk about, well, what about black on black crime? No, you mean crime from criminals on citizens. That's wrong. But it's even more wrong when people who are sworn to uphold the law break the law, because now you break down respect for law, and where there's no respect for law, you can't have any law and order. And so police misconduct is egregious. Now, of course, you know, part of what's going on in black communities, the police have functioned more like an occupying force who operate sometimes and often as above the law. And that's why some of us were interested in the Paul O'Neal tape.
Right.
Because here, if in fact, and we knew there were 5 shots off camera that were not seen, the cameras were off, should have been on.
In the yard.
In the yard. If in fact a suspect like Paul O'Neal can be executed illegally, then none of us are safe. And that's why, you know, we need to get to the bottom of that.
And that's what you're
every
doing, right?
allegation of police misconduct. Yeah.
So we did do the public viewing, and so the investigation continues.
And the problem with Chicago is that we have this IPRA, Independent Police Review Authority, that is not independent, and it doesn't really have authority. It can't really discipline any police. And so you really don't have a real process of independent review of allegations of police misconduct in Chicago, and that's what makes it dangerous for everybody.
So how can people, because we have to wrap up now, the time is on the wall, and we want to promote this one more time, the Village Block Party. If folks wanted to be involved in social justice and community empowerment, what can they do? Who can they call?
Well, we have a meeting every second Tuesday out on the west side at the Columbus Park Refectory, 5701 West on Jackson Boulevard, and from 9 to 11:30.
And that's every second Tuesday.
Every second Tuesday of the month. I mean,
At the Refectory.
it's a social justice organization. Of course, here in Chicago, you got Rainbow Push, you got Urban League, you got NAACP. Westside NAACP has a special branch. I mean, that's why I say everybody should be involved in something.
So you give us a call at Fathers Who Care at 773-287-5821.
Or be a part of Fathers Who Care.
Yeah, and we're going to plug you in to the network because we all work together.
Yes.
We really we really work as that community that we're talking about. But listen, Saturday, August the 13th, the Pilgrim Village Block Party at 4300 West Madison.
Washington.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
West Washington. Come on out, join the team. Listen, Doc, I want to thank you.
It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be a blast, as Don Cornelius
Off the
would say.
chain in
Oh,
Jesus' name.
God bless you. for
On
tuning
like a
in.
neck bone.
Thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll see you next week. Good night, and God bless.
Thank you for all you
Thank you,
do.
Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you
God
so much.